Hi, I'm Dr. Cher, and Happy New Year. I'm going to focus this month on talking about kind of the 4 most common mistakes people make when they're trying to lose weight. As we know, a lot of people start off New Year's resolution. Weight loss is a huge one. People are, whether it's through changing eating habits or exercising, they have lots of vim, vigor, and vitality behind their motivation, saying, that's it, I'm going to lose weight. And, maybe they've got friends involved as well, like supporting each other or family. But more often than not, it doesn't quite work out, right? Maybe get a few weeks, maybe a month in, and then the wheels fall off the bus. They set a goal, they fall short of the goal, they don't reach the goal, or they end up losing but then gaining it back. All that to say, they didn't end up fulfilling or reaching the goal that they wanted. So there's basically 4 most common mistakes people make. I'm going to focus on the first one today and then kind of carry on throughout this month talking about them. The first mistake, and it's the most important one I would say in many ways, is the lack of sustainable motivation. Now, motivation, I'm talking sustainable motivation. Because yes, people can be very excited and very motivated, but often, and a lot of research supports this, often what happens, people lose steam somewhere along the way. Could be after a couple of weeks, could be after a month, but it's not sustainable motivation. And what will this look like? It could be maybe they get some loss, they're excited about that, maybe they want to celebrate and they start celebrating with food. They get bored. Maybe the weight loss that initially they're losing at a faster rate. There's that immediate excitement and gratification, then it slows down. Maybe they hit a bit of a plateau, and so that's not as fulfilling and they kind of give up. Over time, old habits, cravings, those behavioral challenges start to come back to haunt you. Maybe initially your motivation is strong enough to override it, or you're white knuckling your way through it, but eventually those old things come back to haunt you, and you're back to your old habits. The other one is people might have a setback, right? They're going along and then doing pretty well, and then they have a setback, be it for a day, a couple of days, whatever it is, go off track. Then they feel badly, they feel guilty, maybe upset with themselves. So because they're upset, they want to, maybe they'll eat a little more, and this little setback, rather than just being one little thing, expands, becomes more, and then potentially they give up. Anyways, variety of reasons. If you've been there, you'll know what I'm talking about. The bottom line is, though, for whatever reason, that motivation, initial one, it dwindles. So really, this is the mistake number 1, not having a strong enough or more meaningful enough why as to why you want to lose weight. Because when your why is strong, by strong, I don't mean just initially exciting, because you can get sort of the initial excitement, which is not as a stronger, more value-based reason as to why you want to lose weight. If that's not in place, then your motivation is going to dwindle pretty quickly. Versus having one that's much more meaningful and deeper and more important to you, that's going to what will help you carry you through. It's going to carry you through the dips. It'll carry you through little plateaus, carry you through the setbacks, carry you through boredom. Even if you kind of go off track a bit, you'll be able to get back on track. And so it's having that very deep-seated, intrinsic, value-driven reason, purpose, your why as to why you want to lose weight. The stronger that is, that's what's going to help you get on track. I like to use an analogy for this. And if you imagine that, this is where you are now, if you're on a little island and you're thinking, I want to go to that island over there. And that island over there represents everything about losing weight for you, in terms of reaching a goal, in terms of why you want to lose weight, how you think it's going to benefit your life. That all of that is on that island, everything you attach to it. So if you have your lighthouse being the island, it's what's going to guide you. When you set sail, your lighthouse is going to keep you focused. It's going to keep you going in the right direction. Well, having a really strong why is like having a lighthouse that's like lit up. It's bright. It's shining brightly. Therefore, as you're going along, if you get off track, it's shining brightly, you can go back on track. Sometimes the fog banks will come in. That's like temptations, distractions, just life gets in the way. of you maybe losing sight of your why you want to lose weight. Again, if you've got a really strong light in that lighthouse, well, that's going to keep you focused. You're going to be able to ride through those distractions and keep going. That's the analogy I like to use. So if you look at areas in your life, you will probably find areas where you have had what you would view as success. I mean, whether it's like in career, it's in sports, it's something in family life, hobby, like whatever it is for you. Often, you know, your purpose, your reason for doing what you needed to do in order to achieve that level of success, you probably had a very, maybe you weren't consciously aware of it, but there's probably a very deep-seated motivation, an important why as to why you wanted to achieve whatever it was that you achieved. And for that reason, you were able to maybe make some sacrifices, hold the course, and keep moving in the right direction. Now, so what do we do about this? I think you can agree, yes, having a very important intrinsic value-driven why is definitely something that's going to be a lot more sustainable. Now, how do you find that? A couple ways. And I do this when I do calls, when I'm doing initial consultations with people that I'm speaking with, just to see if they're a good fit for the program. One of my questions is, what's important to you about losing weight? Why do you want to lose weight? And often we'll have the first layer of their whys. Oh, I want to get back into some clothes I like, or, you know, I just want my hips not to hurt as much. Whatever it is, you know, they'll have their reasons. But then you want to go deeper than that. And so a way you can do it yourself, and they say actually you should ideally ask yourself this 7 times, but say, okay, so why is it important for you to be able to get into those clothes again? What is it about that? And take it to the next level. You know, maybe it's like, well, I'd feel more confident. Okay, well, what is it about that that's important? Like, where is that missing in your life? So you kind of work through the layers, and eventually you get to a point like, wow, this is why it's so important to me. And the other way of doing it is to also look at, you know, our areas in life, like what our core values are. And basically there's 7 categories. Most people have a mix of some, but there's going to be a hierarchy. So generally, you know, the main categories are, you know, family, career, finance, call it social or recreational, physical well-being, you know, physical health and well-being, spiritual well-being, you call it knowledge, mental stimulation, that type of thing, intellectual stuff. That is another area. So those are the 7 areas. So if you look at your life and you think, okay, so which ones are my top 1 or 2, maybe 3, and try to determine which ones are your most important. And, I mean, there's a lot of exercises online to kind of figure this out. But if you just start to look at your life, where do you prioritize your time? What do you put in your environment? Where do you put more of your mental time and energy? Where do you prioritize making decisions? What's top of mind? These sort of things will start to highlight what your hierarchy is. And the reason this is important is because when you make a decision to lose weight, or any goal really, if that goal, that outcome, that thing that you want to achieve, when it is aligned and you see it as being part of or supporting one of your top 1 or 2 values, and you've connected those dots, then the likelihood of you following through and doing what you need to do is much higher. If you feel that somehow, so for example, let's say one of your top values is being social, recreational, that type of thing, and maybe it's focused around food, like that's just your life, then you would view potentially, if you think that losing weight means, oh, I'm gonna have to make sacrifices, I won't be able to eat the foods I like, the traditional stuff we do, I won't be able to get together with people, then that's gonna seem like that's really in conflict with that value. So if losing weight, even though you want it, but at the end of the day, your highest value is more about being social, and that's around food, there's a disconnect there. So what you need is, first of all, is figuring it out, your values. How does weight loss and being healthier and doing whatever you got to do to lose weight, how does that support your highest values? And if it's in conflict, then say, okay, how could I reframe my viewpoint around losing weight and around following a plan so I can achieve what I want, but at the same time, how is there a way I can look at this to say, okay, this is actually supporting my value? how is it supporting my value? How can I reframe this in such a way that I can see it that way? As an example, I had one client, and she had struggled a lot, like a long time, with weight up and down, yo-yoing. And for her, one of the turning points was she realized that like family was very important, and a lot of the family experiences were around food. So being able to go for ice cream, being able to kind of order in and do movie night, being able to have popcorn and, you know, in front of the TV. And so for her, trying to follow a plan, it seemed like it was in conflict. So, and through discussions, we were able to determine, okay, but what else goes on in the family? And, you know, she realized, well, the kids are pretty active. They're young, 8, 9-year-old kids. You know, they could go cycling. They had a cottage. They liked to go swimming and tubing and all these other things. Well, she was at the point with her weight where she couldn't do a lot of that. So when she was able to reframe it and think, okay, so by losing weight means I can, if I make it doesn't have to be about food, it's time with family, but more importantly, if she's healthier and losing weight, then she can do more activities. And the kids were coming of an age where they wanted to do a lot more stuff. So just twisting it, reframing it, allowed her to kind of see, yeah, you know what, this is actually supporting one of my top values. And so motivation, that sustainable motivation, was much higher. And she was able to follow through. So give that some thought, because this is, you know, in the new year, I know you're excited to get going with your weight loss, but taking time to figure this out, ask yourself some of these questions, will set you up that you'll actually not, it won't just be a short-lived attempt at weight loss, it actually will set you up so you can actually make it sustainable and reach your goal, not fall short. Okay, so stay tuned. I'm going to be speaking next week about, over this month, about the other 3 most common mistakes that I see from my experience with people. And I hope this helps you out so that you are able to reach your goal. Okay, take care and Happy New Year, and have a great day.